This next section, you're finding segment lengths, given chords and secants and tangents, right? And so they're all a little different of how we work them out depending if they intersect inside or outside of the circle. So these are two chords, and if you'll remember, it's part of the chord times the other part, okay, equals part of the chord times the other part. So we're going to have x times 24 equals 12 times 17. Kind of color code that so you can see where they came from. So these two make up one chord, the x and the 24, and these two make up the other chord. Okay? So 24 times x is just 24x, and then 12 times 17 is 204, and then divide both sides by 24, sorry. And so we get 8.5. So x is equal to 8.5. Remember, the product of these parts are equal. Okay, on 28, it is the exterior times the whole. Okay, and we don't know what the whole is, so we're going to call it x plus 4. And then over here, it's the exterior times the whole, and the whole here is 8, because 5 plus 3 is 8. So exterior times the whole equals exterior times the whole. And remember, these, you don't multiply these, you add them together because you're finding the length of it. So this is 4x plus 16 equals 24. And then 24 minus 16 is 8. And divide by 4, so x equals 2. And you can plug it back in, and 4 times 6 equals 3 times 8. 4 times 6 is 24, 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, 29 is just like number 27, the way we set it up anyway. And so we've got part times part equals part times part. So x times 3x equals 8 times 6. And so this gives me 3x squared, because x times x is x squared, and this is 48. So to solve this, we're going to divide by 3. And we get 16. And then we're going to take the square root of that. So x is 4. Okay, 30 is just like number 28. Exterior times the whole equals exterior times the whole. So on this side, the whole is x plus 15. And then on this side, the whole is 35. Alright, so we've got 15 times x plus 15 equals the exterior is 12 times 35, which is the whole segment. Okay, and then we just distribute. So 15 times x is 15x plus 225 equals 420. And then we subtract 225 from 420, and that gives me 195. And then we divide by 15, which is 13. So x is 13. Alright, now last two are a little different. Okay, it's using the fact that a chord, the radius of a circle, when it's perpendicular to a chord, it also bisects the chord. So we know the radius of this circle is 18.9. It doesn't matter where I draw the radius, it's going to be 18.9. So I'm going to draw it right here so that I can have a right triangle. and I can use Pythagorean Theorem to help me figure out what the length of x is. Okay, so I know that y plus x has to equal 18.9, but I got to figure out what this length is first. So this is 15.7, so we're going to do Pythagorean Theorem. So y squared plus 15.7 squared equals 18.9 squared. And I'm just going to go ahead and subtract 15.7 squared from both sides. You can't subtract that till after you've squared them, but this way I can just type it all in the calculator and then take the square root. Okay, and so 18.9 squared minus 15.7 squared is 110.72. So y is equal to the square root of 110.72. That's this part. So to figure out what x is, I need to subtract this from 18.9. So 18.9 minus, this will just give me more accurate, so I'm not having to round. It does say to round to the nearest tenth, but I'm going to wait till the very end. So I don't want to round this decimal and then subtract it from that decimal. I want to wait till the very end. So 18.9 minus, let me show you what I'm typing in, just so you can see. The square root and 110.72. And so rounded to the nearest tenth, that's approximately 8.4. So 8.4 is the correct answer for x. Alright. And then on 32 looks like it might be difficult, but really it's not. They gave you the diameter, and if you know the diameter, which is 31.8, you also know the radius, which is 15.9. Okay, which means that the length of this is 15.9. So 7 plus x has to equal 15.9, because that is also the radius of a circle. So all you gotta do is subtract 7, and x equals 8.9. So this one's 8.9. That one looks a little bit harder. Some people would try to do, you don't have to do Pythagorean Theorem. I mean, that's 14.3, that's 14.3. All you have to do is the radius. Once you figure out what the radius is, just subtract the 7.